grew up initially in Cabrini until you were 9 years old.
Correct.
Do you remember when you lived there?
I do recall Johnny Veal. He was the guy that shot the 2 police officers during the walk and talk. A summer before that happened, he actually burned one of my older brothers with a flare. We were down in the playground playing. My father would watch us from the window. And he saw this guy. He was a lot older than us. And he saw him burn my brother with the flare. And I remember my dad coming down there to get us. But that's when I knew my father was a strong man, because he took control of that situation. And then a year or 2 later is when Veal actually shot those 2 police officers. And it really didn't occur to me until I grew into an adult how significant that particular incident was. And I really never spoke about that too much, but knowing that my dad protected us like that gave me the sense that that was my obligation to people.
Okay.
I can remember when we first moved over there, my first recollection was that it was a nice, really green neighborhood and full of nice families, and there was a camaraderie over there. By the time we moved away, I had gotten accustomed to hearing gunfire all night, as a small child, and that was just unusual. When we moved out south, I can remember my mom telling me I had problems sleeping when we initially moved out there because it was too quiet. And as the first deputy said, DOJ is looking at our current practices and procedures, and we welcome that, because it's always healthy to have an outside set of eyes looking at your policies and procedures to give us another view of what we're doing. Superintendent, we had a lot of conversation regarding that, and we think that we owe it to our agency. If there are deficiencies that we see right now, we don't have to wait to correct those things. We should correct them right now and move forward. Mm-hmm. I think we need to put measures in place to identify an early warning system so we can identify those officers that might have an issue, because there is a huge difference between honest mistakes and intentional misconduct. If it's an honest mistake, first of all, if they're 100% right, they don't need us to have it back, because that 100% right will take care of that. Right. If they make an honest mistake, then we get them more training, some mentoring, some coaching, and get them back on the right track. Intentional misconduct just simply cannot be tolerated from me on down to the last PPO. We all have an obligation, if we observe intentional misconduct, to report it and then handle it accordingly. Okay. Like I said, we have mostly good officers out there, and we, officers recognize if we have one bad officer, then that paints us all in a bad light. And good cops don't like that. Believe it or not, they don't like that. So I don't think that they slowed down intentionally. I think, like with the ISR reports, it's just a learning curve until they get more comfortable with completing them. You know what, I'm not a politician, I'm a cop, so I don't get into all that. My job is to help reduce this crime and to help restore the public's trust in the police department.